An important queer icon from Generation X. Mouse Without Tail by Brandon Elridge. Trigger warning. This article includes language and descriptions of violence against the queer community. It's been 27 years since Matthew Shepard was brutally beaten, tortured, tied to a fence, and left for dead, all because he was gay. He eventually died 6 days after the attack, but simply saying he was murdered would be sugarcoating it. During the 2 decades since this attack against an innocent young man, we've seen progress. The Respect for Marriage Act legalized gay unions, more companies prominently expressed support for the LGBTQ community, and we've seen an increased representation in political positions as well as in films, TV, and other media. But hatred never dies. It only sleeps until someone wakes it up. Someone evil, maybe even the devil himself. Hatred for the queer community is wide awake once again. We see it in the outlawing of displaying of pride flags. Representation is pulled out from under our feet as rainbow crosswalks are erased. Trans people feel it in the restrictions of gender-affirming care. We all feel it when citizens, and even prominent public figures, label us as terrorists or express the desire for us to be killed. Most people who grow up as part of Generation X in the United States probably heard about the horror inflicted on Matt. At least I hope you did. When this 22-year-old gay college student walked into a local bar in Laramie, Wyoming, he had no reason to be afraid. The bartender knew Matt, as he'd been there many times, and the bar was in the same town where he was attending college. Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson were strangers to Matt, but they offered him a ride home. To further entice him, they pretended to be gay. During the ride, Aaron pulled out a gun and used it to hit Matt repeatedly. He alleged that Matt made a sexual advance, but only after the gun appeared, which makes no sense. Even so, would that justify beating him with the gun? They drove to a remote location where they continued to pistol whip and torture Matt. Then they tied him to a fence, took his wallet and shoes, and left him there to die. October nights in Wyoming sometimes dipped down near freezing. He was there for 18 hours before he was found. Though he was taken to the local hospital, his injuries were so severe that he had to be transported to another hospital with a more advanced trauma facility. The incident garnered national attention, with all major news outlets flocking to rural Wyoming. Candlelight vigils were held, and hospital administrators provided regular updates to the press on Matt's condition. Matt never regained consciousness and died 6 days after the attack. Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson didn't know Matt, but they knew he was gay. After Matt was found, along with evidence linking the two men to the incident, McKinney was taken into custody and interrogated by Detective Rob Debris. The transcription of McKinney's confessions shows Debris asking McKinney what Matthew looked like. McKinney responded, like a queer. Such a queer dude? He looks queer? Debris asked for clarification. Yeah, McKinney confirmed. Like a fag, you know? Many people wanted to downplay the attack, claiming it was a robbery gone bad. However, McKinney's confession, along with the, quote, gay panic defense that defense attorneys employed, leaves no doubt that this was a hate crime. The two young men were charged with aggravated robbery, kidnapping, and attempted murder. After Matthew's death, the charges were upgraded from attempted murder to first-degree murder. Both men were eligible for the death penalty. Henderson avoided trial and the death penalty by confessing to kidnapping and murder. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. McKinney went to trial and was found guilty of felony murder. Matthew's father, Dennis, read a statement directed to McKinney after the verdict. In it, he granted life to his son's murderer and told him he had Matthew to thank for it. Matthew's family worked out a deal to remove the death penalty as a possible option for sentencing. McKinney was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Earlier this year, Russell Henderson applied for a commutation of his sentence, but it was denied. I wrote a blitz poem to bring awareness to violence enacted on people in the LGBTQ community. Mouse without tail. Quiet in the house, quiet as a mouse. Mouse on the loose. Mouse has a noose. Noose around his neck. Noose above the deck. Deck him in the eye. Deck him till he cries. Cries, but why bother? Cries for his mother. Motherfucker makes me sick. Motherfucker likes the dick. Dick lover. Dick. Discovered. Discovered your secret. Discovered, can't keep it. It has made you doubt. It has kicked you out. Out, now you've lost it. Out of the closet. Closet of lies. Closet can't hide. Hiding whore. Hiding no more. More sticks and beer. More kicks. Queer. Queer as fuck. Queer as a duck. Duck your head. Duck or you're dead. Dead little girl. Dead to the world. World unknowing. World keeps going. Going without you. Going to doubt you. You will go to hell. You better not tell. Tell your story. Tell and be sorry. Sorry you survived. Sorry you're alive. Alive but not living. Alive but not giving. Giving details. Giving your tale. Tale about violence. Tale that is silenced. Silenced. Violence. October is National LGBTQ History Month. It's also the anniversary of the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act. This was an expansion of the earlier 1968 federal hate crime law, which covered race, color, religion, or national origin. The new act includes any crime that, quote, is motivated by prejudice based on the actual or perceived race, color, religion, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability of the victim, or is a violation of the state, local, or tribal hate crime laws. The bill was first proposed in 2001, but continued to die in committees and was opposed by conservative politicians, groups, and religious leaders, including James Dobson. It continues to amaze and confound me when supposed Christian organizations oppose laws that help to prevent any hate-motivated acts. Matthew's mother, Judy, fought for years to get a new hate crime law passed that included members of the LGBTQ community. Finally, on October 22, 2009, President Barack Obama signed the bill into law. Another man strutted onto the national news stage when he showed up at Matt's funeral. Fred Phelps and members of the congregation of the Westboro Baptist Church stood outside with hateful messages on signs. The church has harbored and displayed its deep hatred for Jews, Muslims, other Christian denominations, and especially the LGBTQ community. The congregation still spreads its messages of vitriol, though the members are less active now that their leader is gone. Small favors. Some people are so hateful that even the death of a young gay man isn't good enough. If you didn't know about Matthew before today, you can visit the Matthew Shepard Foundation to learn more about him and to lend your support to the queer community. I would also recommend the 2 movies, the documentary, and the book centered around the incident, all of which bring his story to life. Judy Shepard is the driving force behind the foundation. I can't imagine being constantly reminded of the hatred inflicted on her son, but I'm so grateful for her tireless efforts. I didn't know Matthew personally, but I've cried for him. I still do. I can't imagine what he went through, and I often become emotional when I think about it. I also know that I could have been him. His rural Wyoming community is not unlike my own in the Midwest. I was still in the closet when I heard about Matthew. If I had any thoughts about coming out at that time, they were quickly dispelled by fear that something like that could happen to me. I eventually came out, gradually. and I garnered enough courage to attend pride parades and other public queer venues that revealed me as part of the LGBTQ plus community. But new laws and proposals have me worried once again. Many people were shocked when Roe v. Wade was overturned. Now, it's no surprise that there are whispers of repealing the Respect for Marriage Act. Just when I'm ready to develop a relationship with another man that could lead to marriage, I may be barred from doing so. Many hateful voices band together to restrict and erase each letter in the LGBTQ plus community through laws and other restrictions. How long do you think it will be before we see national news footage about another young man like Matt being the victim of brutal violence? Matthew Shepard didn't need to die. He should have been able to finish college, live, and love freely. I should too. And I shouldn't have to suffer and die because I'm gay. I don't want to lose my life to make a change in the world. You can call me selfish. The LGBTQ plus community is a small portion of the population, so even together, our pleas and cries aren't loud. We need allies who support us and fight with us. Raise your voice along with ours to speak out against hatred and discrimination. Vote for politicians who vow to uphold the Respect for Marriage Act. Better yet, vote for people who identify as members of the LGBTQ plus community. We need all the representation we can get. Above all, help prevent another young man like Matt from becoming a victim of senseless violence and hatred. If you want to see me continue writing on this platform, please lend your support. You can become a paid subscriber for $6 per month or $60 per year. You'll have access to paywalled content and my archive. You can also collaborate with me on articles, audio podcasts, and live videos. Click subscribe now. Becoming a founding member will give you all the benefits of a paying subscriber, plus you can help me decide the direction my publication will take. I'm constantly evolving, growing, and improving, so I'm always open to ideas. Throughout October, you can take advantage of $1 off the full price here by clicking Spooky Special. To subscribe without collaborating, you can sign up for $3 per month or $30 per year. Click 50% off. If you want to think about it first, please consider buying me a coffee. I appreciate any support you're able and willing to offer. Thanks.